Hi, my name's Colin McMahon. 9 years ago, I fulfilled a lifelong dream and opened my comic book store, Pittsburgh Comics. Since then, it's been great. I've met lots of great people, I've read lots of great books, and I want to share that with you. Welcome to Comics Now. Hey everybody, welcome to Comics Now number 5. Happy February. Thanks for coming back and watching. February is always a very interesting month because it's a slower month. It's a quieter type of month for the publishers. You have the big guys, Marvel and DC, are gearing up for their big summer plans. In case you didn't know, there's a big Captain America Civil War movie coming out in the first week in May to coincide with Free Comic Book Day. And then, so Marvel is going to be having all this stuff going on. So it's a little bit quieter right now. Getting ready for that. DC has some big summer event planned. I'm hoping to learn about what that is soon. But right now it's just kind of, I don't want to say same old, but just the regular books are continuing in February, which is great for the smaller publishers because they can come out with their number ones and they're not fighting against, oh, we came out the same week as Civil War 9 and we got completely missed. So it's an interesting month. Like I said, it's quieter, but it's time to find some different things. And I also have a plan to help you find some different books that you might not know about. Marvel, Secret Wars is done finally. 3 months late, but that's okay. It was a great story, great art, and now we can really get into the meat of the Marvel Universe without kind of wondering, well, how does it end? How did this work out? Marvel has some new number ones still coming out. There's only a few more of their new run. But we have Spider-Man number 1. And that's Miles Morales, the former Ultimate Spider-Man, is now in the main Marvel Universe. He's been in a couple books before this. He's been in the regular Avengers title. Seen him interacting with Tony Stark and stuff. And now we find out, after the end of Secret Wars, how he got here and how his life has changed. Basically, a hamburger saved his life and the life of his mom. So if you come on in and ask or read Secret Wars 9 and that'll explain all that for you. There's also a prelude to Civil War 2, and that's Avengers Standoff at Pleasant Hill. And the basic thrust of the book is that it's a small, sleepy community with something underlying, something bad going on behind the scenes that nobody knows about. And that's going to be going through, it looks like, all the Avengers books leading up to Civil War. So does it play a part? I'm not sure after reading the summary of what the Civil War 2 is going to be. But we'll see. So that one's coming out, and it's going to be a big crossover event, I believe, in February and March. We also have Power Man and Iron Fist number 1. Now, Power Man is Luke Cage, who, if you watch the Jessica Jones series on Netflix, you got to know him pretty well. And his best friend is Danny Rand, who is Iron Fist. And so they've been a team up since, gosh, I think the 70s, where we had the original Power Man and Iron Fist, and then they've done Heroes for Hire. And we haven't had them teamed up for a while, so I think fresh off the heels of the Netflix show, and I know Iron Fist is supposed to be getting his own Netflix show, we get a new book coming out from Marvel. Also, Deadpool Merc for the Money, a new miniseries for Deadpool. In case you didn't know, Deadpool has a movie coming out. Marvel's making sure you know Deadpool has a movie coming out, because we're just being flooded with Deadpool stuff, and Deadpool fans are excited. If you don't know who Deadpool is, you want to get an idea. One neat thing they've been doing, I think we have about 10 of them, where they're doing dollar issues, and it's just reprinting an issue from previous series, either number 1s. I know last week I think we got the Wedding of Deadpool issue. So there's a lot of Deadpool stuff out there. Now, Deadpool is not exactly kid-friendly, which has me a little bit scared every time the 9-year-old is coming in with Dad to get the Deadpool books and talking about the movie. But if you like some kind of raunchy fun with some suggestible things, Deadpool might be for you. And also, here's a real little book. This is the kind of stuff that I expect in February. It's X-Men, Worst X-Man Ever. Now, Max Landis is doing this. He's a movie director, and right now he's doing Superman American Alien over at DC. That's one of my favorite DC books right now. And so he's doing a book about how can you be a misfit if you're an X-Man, because the X-Men are basically misfits of society, people who are ostracized. And here's going to be the story of someone who's even ostracized from the X-Men because his powers are so lame. Then over at DC, like I said, they're teasing something big coming out this summer. Their big image was just, it said Rebirth in front of a curtain. So I'm sure they're going to let us know soon what's going on. But leading up to that, we still have some books coming from them. Dark Knight Returns Last Crusade is a neat one. It's by Frank Miller and Brian Azzarello, and drawn by John Romita Jr. and Bill Sienkiewicz. And basically, it's a prequel to the original Dark Knight Returns. My guess is it's going to explain a little bit what happened to make Batman retire before the original Dark Knight Returns. The other neat thing they did with it is they're putting it in the same format as the original Dark Knight Returns. So if you want to put it with your Dark Knight Returns collection, it's going to be the square-bound, real thick 48-page comic like that one was. So very much looking forward to that. It's supposed to ship in February, but being that issue 3 of Dark Knight Master Race is late, this one might slip till March, so don't hold me to that, but it's supposed to come out in February. There's a new one from Neal Adams. Neal Adams, great creator, huge in the 60s. 60s and 70s, then he kind of went his own way into advertising in the 80s, and he's back now. He's refound his love for comics. February is also Neal Adams variant cover month for DC, where every variant cover that they do, which is on about, I want to say 20-some books, is going to be Neal Adams recreating one of his classic covers from the 60s and 70s with a twist, just different characters in the same poses and things like that. So those, I think, are going to be really neat. But he also has a book called Superman, The Coming of Supermen coming out. It's a 6-issue miniseries, and basically Darkseid has come to Earth, and Superman is not enough to take him on. So the Kandorians come out of the bottle city of Kandor to help him. So that's the Supermen storyline, which is a little twist on what's going on in the Dark Knight Master Race right now. So this will be interesting having 2 Kandorian stories going on at the same time. We also have the Wonder Woman Earth 1 graphic novels coming out. DC has done a series of these where basically it's an original graphic novel starting off in hardcover. They've done 2 Batman and 3 Superman and 1 Teen Titans so far. And it's just basically not a reimagining, but kind of a retelling of the origin and telling a story without all the continuity, without everything going on in the regular DC universe. It's just a real neat story. The first one was basically the origin of Superman, but completely different. Just a lost kid who wanted to be left alone and had to come out. Turns out in that story, Krypton was destroyed by the specific race who blew it up, and they have now come to Earth, and he has to stop them from doing that. And then in the next one's just him maturing and growing up. So we're finally getting the Wonder Woman one that we've been hearing about for quite a while. Different artists have been attached to it, but it's always been Grant Morrison, who's one of the real big thinkers that DC has. And so this should be interesting with Yannick Paquette, who draws beautiful women. So this one should be really good. It should look great, and it should be a really good story. Justice League Darkseid War Special. Darkseid, I think every one of these I've talked about the Darkseid War as being really good. And the special is going to be the story of Darkseid's daughter, Grail, who is now kind of taken up his mantle as of the last issue. And it's going to give us more of her story, her motivations, why she's doing all this. And then there's another one from Vertigo. I thought we were done with our Vertigo relaunch, but we have another one coming out called Dark and Bloody. And I just read the first line of the solicit and kind of tells you all you need to know. And it says, guns, moonshine, monsters in the backwoods of Kentucky. So you can tell it's a horror book. It's not going to be pretty. And really fits in with the Vertigo model. Image has a couple new ones coming out. There's one called Mirror, #1. It's by Emma Rios. Basically, it's about, this one had a nice description too. It's a terrorist talking dog, idealist mage, and a heroic lab rat on a quest for acceptance. So, different, fun, which is kind of what Image really is now, the different kind of books. They also have another one called Snowfall coming out. And this is interesting, where there was a big dramatic event that affected the climate on Earth and it could no longer snow. And it all of a sudden one man has the power to make it snow, and he goes on a one-man crusade against the system that caused the problem. And there's also an artist proof of Tokyo Ghost coming. Now, I found the artist Sean Gordon Murphy when he did Punk Rock Jesus. Only reason I remember taking it home is because of the title, and just fell in love with his art. He's done things like The Wake and Chrononaut since then, and he's doing Tokyo Ghost, and his art just gets better and better. So what this artist proof is it's the actual size reproduction of the art, because in case you didn't know, they draw it bigger and then they shrink it down when they print it. So this is a big oversized 11 by 17 book reprinting the first 2 issues of Tokyo Ghost without the color and just so you can see his art. And it still has the words and everything so you can read it. But I'm very much looking forward to this because I have a couple pieces of his original art, but sadly as he's gotten more popular his prices have gone up and not as nearly as affordable as he used to be. Now, Boom has a couple new books coming out. They have Bill and Ted Go to Hell. Last year they came out with Bill and Ted's, I forget what it was called, Further Adventures. And it did well enough that they're getting another miniseries, and this time they're going to hell. They also have Kennel Block Blues coming out, which is basically they're doing a prison book, but it's set with dogs in a kennel. And also Steven Universe and Crystal Gem. Steven Universe was a huge surprise hit for Boom last year. Sold out of everything. Couldn't even get the graphic novels when they came out because they were in such demand. So they're bringing in a second series of Steven Universe. So I don't watch the cartoons, so I can't actually vouch for it or anything, but I know it's sold great and people are really interested in it. So I was really happy when I saw that there was more coming. And they also have one called Jonesy #1. This one's getting a big push. Basically, it's a story about a girl who has the power of like Cupid. She can make people fall in love, but sadly it doesn't work on her. So it's kind of the story of her, you know, she's making all these people happy while she's miserable. And her, you know, tales, I think she's a teenage girl, so it's that kind of market. A teenage girl looking for love who has this power. Over at Dynamite, we have some new stuff coming in. Deja Thoris is getting another series. Deja Thoris is the heroine from the John Carter Warlord of Mars books. And she's had a couple series, and she's getting another new one. People like it. She's, you know, lives on Mars and is dressed rather scantily, so it seems to have a certain audience. Also, Shaft Imitation of Life #1. Shaft is back. That was a real big hit for Dynamite last year. Kind of under the radar, but apparently Shaft has a good following. I know Pat, one of our podcasters, really enjoyed it. So I know he's looking forward to this. Grumpy Cat and Pokey #1. Grumpy Cat was another big hit for them last year. I couldn't believe how many people kept coming and asking me to hold that book for them, because I'm like, it's an internet meme. I don't understand how it could be a book, but it did really well, and so it's getting another series as well. Also a one-shot, Twilight Zone 1959. They had a recent Twilight Zone series, but now they're doing a one-shot, basically set back in the, you know, the classic black and white time. Rod Serling standing there talking to you, so it's going to be, you know, book. I think it's an oversized book, so it's going to be a full story just in one issue with that theme. IDW has a couple as well. Their Street Fighter versus G.I. Joe is coming. And then we also have one, Winona Earp #1. Now, this is a new TV show. I don't remember what station it's going to be on, but it's nice to have a book tying into that. There has been Winona Earp books earlier. Bo Smith, who lives down in West Virginia, is the writer on it and the creator of it. I believe it's the daughter of Wyatt Earp. And so if you want to get in, see what the show's about, you know, we have the books. And also one last one from Dark Horse, Tomb Raider #1. They've done Tomb Raider, they've done Lara Croft. Now we're getting back to a new Tomb Raider #1. It's one that, you know, it has a certain built-in audience. It does really well, and they just like to change it up, giving you a new #1. A couple things going on at the store this month. I just finished up, January I always do my year-end inventory, and I just finished counting all my graphic novels to make sure that I have, you know, what's supposed to be on the shelf is on the shelf and things like that. And as I'm doing it, I'm looking at books that I keep seeing over and over and no, they haven't sold, and I'm trying to figure out a way to get people to look at these books, because it tends to be people, you know, Batman does really well and Walking Dead does well, things like that, but some of these little lesser-known books don't get seen as much. And last year, when I had to add the new bookshelves, I lost my racks, and I wasn't able to do as much face-out display. So the covers sell much better than the spine, but sadly, they go spine out much quicker now. So I decided I needed to come up with a way to get you guys, customers, to take a look at different books and actually give a little harder look at the books on the shelf. So I'm doing an alphabet sale. Between February, the first week of February and the last week of April is 13 weeks. So what I've decided to do is that each week, 2 letters of the alphabet are going to be on sale. I'm going to do 25% off 2 letters. So this week, first week of February, letter A and letter N will be on sale. I'm also going to include all the numbers, like 100 Bullets and 30 Days a Night will be included with the A's. But so every week it'll be 2 different letters going through the end of April to get you to, you know, hey, let me look. I haven't really looked at the E graphic novels, and there might be something there that you find. Like I said, it's a quieter time, so that's something I'm doing to get, maybe you can find something you want to read. When I think of February, I always think of gray and yucky and not really wanting to be outside. So it's a great time, you know, sitting on the sofa, something different to read. I always like ordering these oddball kind of books, but you have to know what they are to find them now, because I don't really have a way to display them face out where a cover can catch your eye. So we'll be doing that all month. Also, I'm continuing on my Valiant sale. I did a really bad job of promoting it in January just because I was full of other things to do, so I never really got it going. So we're going to do it again this month. I have the full Valiant display right by the front door of all their graphic novels. And Valiant was awesome enough to send me a battle axe. They're doing a book called Wrath of the Eternal Warrior, and to promote this, they sent a battle axe. Well, it's not just a little cardboard thing. It's actually a wood handle with a steel head on it. It's not sharp, but according to people in the know, it could be sharpened. So what I've been doing as people buy a Valiant graphic novel, I've been taking a picture of them holding the battle axe in front of the display and then sending it off to Valiant. So I want to continue that on so we can send a bunch of pictures off to Valiant and say, hey, look, we're really supporting you, because I really feel they support us really well. They're the only publisher who's actually ever come to my store to look around and promote their stuff. So I want to help them and promote them. So I'm doing double points on all Valiant graphic novels throughout the month of February, and you get to get your picture taken holding this awesome battle axe. And like I said, it's real. So come on in if you want to take part in that. Neat thing, most of their number ones are $9.99, so it's not really a big investment to give it a shot, and it seems like everybody who tries it really enjoys the books. I know, again, Pat is getting a little frustrated with some of the bigger publishers not really enjoying the books as much as he used to, so he decided to give a shot to Valiant. Josh, another one of our podcasters, is a huge Valiant fan, and after the promotion, he's getting the battle axe because he likes that stuff, unless I decide I need it for store protection. But so Josh is always talking about it on our podcast, and Pat decided to try out Archer and Armstrong and Quantum and Woody and Bloodshot, and he really enjoyed it. So it's kind of an inexpensive way to try something different. It's a neat universe. It's a small universe. There's not a ton of different characters you're going to need to know. So really trying to push that. So if that's something you're interested in, please come give a look. And then the last thing, the biggest thing for me, February is my favorite month only because I get away for a little bit. I get a little mini vacation from the store and from the family. Not that I need that, but sometimes it's nice to get away. And I'm heading out to my Comics Pro meeting. Comics Pro, I believe this is their 10th year, and this is going to be my 6th meeting going to out in Portland in the middle of the month. Comics Pro was created due to a little bit of frustration on the behalf of the comic book retailers, where that when they would go to a publisher and say, hey, this is wrong, can you fix this, this isn't working, things like that, the publishers tended not to listen, only because it was one person speaking. And if it's, well, you're saying that, but we're not hearing that from the other 2,000 comic book stores, so we don't necessarily, I don't know, believe you, listen to you, feel the need to do anything. So they decided to create an organization where comic book retailers can speak with one voice and have a little more weight behind it. So that was a big reason that I joined, just to be part of a group, you know, to get our word across, get our point across. And so every year they have an annual meeting. This year it's out in Portland, where it was last year. And it's just really neat because the publishers come with their representatives to talk to us. And there's a lot of good back and forth. Hey, this worked, this didn't. Here's why I think this didn't work. If you try this, it might. DC has always been very receptive. A few years ago, they were doing the Bombshell variant covers for that month. The previous month had been the Robot Chicken ones, where those were all 1 in 25 variants. And I had a lot of people wanting them, but a lot of titles I didn't get one, or at most I got 1 or 2, so I couldn't cover everybody that wanted it. And at the meeting, I think we were just about to order the Bombshell variants, and that was a topic of conversation, basically saying, hey, we could sell a ton of these if we could get them in, but at 1 in 25, I'm not upping my orders. So they then, you know, took a show of hands, everybody raised their hands, and they made them open to order, meaning I can order as many as I want. And they've been doing that ever since, and it's been very, very successful. Every month they have a theme. This month was the adult coloring book, January is the adult coloring book, February is the Neil Adams cover. And it's just nice being able to get it. Some people would rather have that than the regular cover, and lots of times I can still reorder them if I sell out. So it's just been beneficial to both us and them. I had one a few years ago. This was at a meeting in Atlanta. Arrow had just started, and I was a big fan of Mike Grell's Green Arrow run back in the late 80s and 90s. And watching the show, I could tell that the writer of that also was a big fan of that run, and a lot of it was based off, not so much the story, but the tone of that series. And there was even a little mini-series that started it all off called Longbow Hunters. And they were all out of print, or the books, the issues had never been collected, and Longbow Hunters was out of print. So at the meeting, the head of DC's collected editions was there, and just probably sitting at dinner, sitting at the table, I mentioned, hey, it'd be great if we could have this stuff in print, because I think there'd be some correlation and people would be interested in it. And about 3 months later, boom, in previews, that shows up. And I think we have 4 volumes of it out so far. So it's just nice to see them listen to us. And, obviously, if we're at volume 4, it's selling well enough for them to continue. It's also really good for the small publishers to get their merchandise out in front of us. There have been 2 real big surprises this year. A company called 451 and another one called Aftershock that have done great, and I'm finding myself every week reordering their books, and it's a good time for them to talk to us, say, hey, here's what we have. Not everybody's carrying those smaller publishers. There's a lot of stores that are only carrying Marvel, DC, an Image. So it's a good way for them to say, here's what we have, and putting it in our hands. I know I always order a lot more first, second books because of that, because I'm not sold when I'm reading the previews book, but when all of a sudden I have it in my hand, it's like, wow, that's a neat one. There's a neat one called, I believe it was Red-Handed from Oni, where I think I'd ordered one, but I ended up upping my order only because of the back cover of the book I thought was really cool, where it was a mirror. The front cover was looking into a restaurant, and the back cover was looking out of the restaurant through a big plate glass window. I just thought that was really neat. It was a neat little touch. So it's a great time for the publishers to talk to us. But the other, really, my favorite part is talking to other retailers. Getting into a room with 150 other guys who are having the same problems I'm having, and hearing that from them. Instead of me assuming, gosh, I'm doing something wrong, or this isn't selling, I don't know why. It's great to get, just in a casual situation, to sit and talk with them. And lots of great ideas go back and forth. I always come back really refreshed. It's always fun. So that's going on in the middle of the month. If there's anything you want me to ask the publishers, let me know. Not, who would win in a fight between Batman and Captain America or something silly like that, but things like, are they going to collect this book? Are they ever going to bring back this character? Things like that I can certainly ask, and at least, put in their ear saying, hey, people are interested in this. So that's what makes it really, really good. Well, that's it for February. Thanks for watching. As always, you can always find me in the store. I never seem to leave. You can find the website's pittsburghcomics.com. You can find me on Facebook under Pittsburgh Comics and on Twitter at PGH Comics. Now, please stay tuned, as always, for Comics Preview Theater. Thanks. We'll talk to you next month.
I won't say it again. Are you open or closed? Speak now or die.
Neither. We told you we're Jedi.
And I told you I don't know what that is.
Mother Pran, maybe we should wait.
No, Clara, we shouldn't.
This turned ugly fast.
Be calm, Anakin. There is no need for weapons here.
There is no need for... Ah! Clara, get to cover! They're closed! Those devils! They still had an air gun left!
What should we do? We can't fight that thing.
Maybe they didn't see us. Maybe they'll just kill the other two, the Jedi, and leave.
You think we'll get that lucky?
Unlikely.
You fools! You'll lead them right to us! We just arrived on this planet. I find it hard to believe that we're their targets. You don't understand! They're closed! They kill everything!
They won't just leave? Is there any chance at all?
Not until they've seen our corpses.
He moved so fast. Where did he go?
Up. Do 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 bum ba da do 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 do.